Are you a small business owner looking to purchase a home or buy an investment property? That and more today on Cash Flow. Hi, I'm Jason Waters, CEO of JW Financial Group, and welcome to Cash Flow, where we talk about the number one goal of your business, which is to create cash flow. With us today is Nina Barroso with ClearEdge Lending. Thank you for being here today.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what you do.
I am an account executive. I have been in the mortgage business for 30 years. I assist brokers in helping their borrowers get loans to buy homes. I have several different ways of assisting brokers in doing that, most of them in non-conventional type ways.
So we're going to get into that here in a little bit, but I do want to talk a little bit to the audience out there about why I work with Nina, why I brought Nina on here, and what does this have to do with cash flow. So I run JW Financial Group, where we help lots of businesses in their financial world. We also run a mortgage team. And so on the mortgage side of the business, one of the biggest challenges is getting debt or getting loans for business owners. And so Nina is someone I work with when we do that. So I want to bring Nina on so we could really dive into what the special circumstances around getting loans for business owners, how we can overcome that where other people might not be able to. So we're so glad you're here.
Yeah, glad to be here. So oftentimes business owners take advantage of the tax laws, which they allow them to write off all sorts of expenses. Unfortunately, when it comes time to getting a mortgage, they don't always show enough income to qualify on the conventional side of the business.
Sure.
And that's where we come into play. So we have all sorts of different ways to help self-employed borrowers get loans. Many times we use bank statements. So the bank statement loan is a great way to help that borrower that couldn't qualify otherwise to purchase a home. Quite simple, just to get the bank statements and average the deposits, and that's basically what we look at for income.
So in my show called Cash Flow, you're actually looking at cash flow. It's
Correct.
It's not a fictitious calculation. It is what cash is coming into the bank.
Correct.
And using a calculation based on that, and debt to income based on that calculation.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. We'll oftentimes have the borrower give us an idea of what their expenses are, and that's basically something provided by the borrower and signed by the borrower, and that's how we figure out what their expenses may be, which is going to be much different than possibly what the tax returns reflect.
And I saw that year after year. I used to be a commercial banker before I was a mortgage banker, and there were people wrote off everything, and then I said, look, I'm glad you saved on taxes. That's great for you, great for your CPA. However, I can't show enough cash flow there to loan you any money. So I'm sorry, but we do have solutions for that. So
correct, and that's why we're here.
Okay.
We feel there's a real need for people out there. More and more people are opening up their own small businesses and becoming self-employed, which is great. So we're here to help them be able to purchase.
And small businesses drive our economy. Small
Correct.
Businesses are where our growth in our economy is, and people are doing it every day.
Absolutely.
So it's great.
Yeah, it's great.
If I'm looking to finance a home, why should I use a broker instead of a bank?
That's a great question. It's one I get all the time. I'm obviously very biased, so I'm going to pivot to Nina and let her answer this question. I may chime in afterwards.
Super. Yeah, I work with brokers, and the benefit to working with a broker obviously is the fact that you're able to shop many different outlets for them and get them the best product, whether it be a conventional product or a non-conventional type product. And oftentimes you can get them the best rate as well. I would say that's one of the best reasons to use a broker versus the bank.
Yeah, and in my experience, it is almost always the best rate and lower fees, certainly better service. You're not working with someone on 800 number. You're working with someone on my team that sits in this office. So it's not it's not a long distance relationship, if you will. And for example, when we talked about different products or different lenders we can go to, Nina's company is one. So if you go to a bank and it doesn't fit their box, you're done. You're out of business. You're not buying the home. With us, there might be other opportunities. So I'll call Nina and say, hey, I got this business owner. Here's his scenario. I got his tax returns. He shows a loss, but this is how much money that came in, and she can run a calculation, and a lot of times that can work. So brokers every day.
How do I get a loan if I have a lot of assets but not a lot of income?
Or with a lot of business owners, they've sold their business and they no longer have the income they used to have. And so, but they're wealthy individuals. So they should be able to qualify for a mortgage, but sometimes it doesn't work. So that's where we go to asset depletion loans. Nina, can you talk a little bit about what asset depletion loan is?
Sure. Simply, we just take the assets, and depending on where the assets are placed, we can take a percentage of the assets and use that as income. Typically, we'll take the percentage, add it up, and we just divide it over 120 months, and we'll give you that for income. And then that way you can still qualify.
I think that's one of the most frustrating things that I see happen or to a business owner that is very successful, and at one time they could qualify for anything they wanted to, and then all of a sudden they go to a bank and they say, I can't. Well, another reason not to go to a bank. But there are answers for that, but that's a great question.
I'm looking to buy an investment home for rental. Is this possible with a conventional mortgage?
Yes, it's absolutely possible. In fact, I do a lot of investment home loans conventionally. It usually works best when someone has a lot of income and they can support not only their home, but the prospective home that they're buying. There are also some programs where you can count the potential income for of the investment property they're purchasing. I think Nina has some even more products that we can use. You can put an LLC and we can't. So tell us what you can do.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we have a couple of different programs actually that we can do. We can close in an LLC, which is something that unconventionally you can't do. A lot of investors prefer to close in the name of an LLC, so we can do that. The other thing we can do as well is, instead of looking at the actual your income, we look at the income of the property. So we will look at the appraisal. The appraiser will go out, do their appraisal, and they'll give us a fair market rent amount. And that's what we're looking at. And we're looking for that to cover 1.1% of the mortgage. We also have another program, no ratio, where we don't even look at that. So we're not looking at your income and we're not looking at the job. We're just typically looking at assets at that point. So those are two great products that we can do for people. And you can have multiple investment properties and we can still help you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
How much do you have to put down on something like that?
20%.
Okay.
Same as
They're pretty
conventional.
standard, yeah.
Yeah, just 20%.
Okay. Well, as you can see, Nina has a lot of programs. The way to work with Nina is to work with us, and
Absolutely.
we work together to get things done, and to get you into an investment home or to get you into a home that you might not otherwise qualify for because of your tax situation. But between the two of us, we're pretty sure we can get most things done. Well, that's all we have for today. Nina, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
If you have any questions, you can find us online at Jason Waters #cashflow. Until next time.